Hi friends, it's Brittany at Ink and Papyrus and welcome back to my channel. I have saved these seed catalogs for some time now and I am so ready to upcycle them. The images in these are beautiful and there's a ton of really pretty and informative text as well. And I was thinking how perfect if we upcycle these and make some really pretty spring inspired ephemera out of these. So first, let's start with the obvious. This cover is so beautiful. I am definitely going to be making a journal out of this and using this as a cover. So I'm not going to touch this, and obviously I'm not going to be doing this today, but I will be saving this for a later video.
What a gorgeous image that is, those flowers. As soon as I saw it, I decided I needed to make a piece of ephemera where I could keep the image completely intact. There's no way I would want to cut this up. And so I thought the perfect way to do that would be to create a postcard. So I found a brown card. I guess I got a whole set of these with elements from the periodic table quite a while back in some like ephemera pack that I ordered. And I love the thickness of it. It's perfect. Obviously, this is not a traditional postcard. It's going to actually be a vertical postcard instead of a horizontal one, just because of the image, it wouldn't really look right sideways. So I just come in with my glue stick and I'm careful to glue the catalog image down. It's just like a magazine. The paper's kind of frail, it's fragile. I like using the glue stick because I find I don't get a whole lot of bubbling and wrinkling with it. And then on the back, I have this digital image I printed out. It just has this like vintagey brownish look to it, but the paper is lined, so I figured perfect, it has some lines, so I can do some journaling on this and this will be perfect. Once I get it all lined up, I'm going to cut off the excess paper. To truly give us the feel of a real postcard, we have to make a stamp and do some altering of the back. So I decide to cut out a little butterfly and back it with some fabric. And I'm going to cut the fabric with those deckled edge scissors to kind of give it that stamp look. And then I put the butterfly on top. Finally, I just take a ruler and I'm going to start about 2 inches from the top, and I'm going to make a line just down the middle to like a normal postcard would be. You would have the addressee on one side, and then you would have separate writing room. And oftentimes, if you notice on a postcard, there's a line splitting the two right below the words postcard. So just to give it a genuine feel, that's what I do here. So for these faux postcards, I absolutely love the sewn look. So I just went around this with the zigzag stitch. You can see the front and the back here, and this puppy is complete. Okay, idea number 2, a bookmark. I just took a catalog image. It was, I don't know, it's just part of the advertisement, and it's just a very long advertisement. And I thought, wow, like this has some really pretty pictures, it has some great text. I'm just going to make this into a bookmark. So I just glued it to the back of cardstock. I went around, I sewed it. I added a ribbon tab up top and put a little green bow up top, and then once it went through the sewing machine, I just slapped some stickles down, and I love how this came out. So I decided that one postcard was not enough. I had to make 2 more. And as you'll see, I found these really small square images. So I decided to make 2 small mini postcards. And I just got a new watercolor set, so I had to break it out. This is the Aquafarben solid watercolor paint set. And I just take some paint brushes and splotch some paint on the cardstock. And once these dry, I will go ahead and glue down the catalog images.
So off camera, I just made a little journaling card. I had this fairy, isn't she gorgeous, from another digital image kit, and those words. And I back this with this beautiful white, I already forgot the name of it, but these beautiful white flowers behind her. So even if we're using different focal points and simply utilizing the images and the seed catalog or the verbiage as background, I still think you can create gorgeous ephemera with this. Okay, so we have our bookmark and a beautiful journaling card. Oh, I forgot. And I went around this with watercolor around the words and the digital image, and I think it really made it pop. So I love doing stuff like that. Okay, so I'm just gonna probably journal on the back of this. I'm waiting for these watercolor little pieces I've made to dry. I'm gonna make these into mini postcards. The concept is going to be the exact same. I'm just gonna put the image on a piece of cardstock. On the back, I'm gonna obviously this is a little bit of an awkward postcard because I'm doing this vertically. That's just, you know, because of the image, the way it is, it wasn't gonna look right like this. But I'm gonna do the same exact thing, glue the images on once the watercolor dries. I thought this color scheme looked beautiful with these speckled flowers. Gorgeous. And I'm gonna do the same. I will write postcard on the back, draw some lines, make some stamps. I showed you the bookmark. I'm waiting for these stipples to dry. So speaking of stamps, I would actually really like to downsize some of the images in this journal here and back it with some white cardstock and do some stamping to make some faux stamps, especially the little images that have, like, for example, this one. You know, you could cut just a very small section of that and get a whole ton of detail and see exactly what that is. Same as some of these other images. Again, like, look how beautiful. You know, you can cut this down to a very, very small size and see exactly what the image is, and back it with white paper, do some stamping on it, distress it, you get some beautiful faux stamps. This would be another perfect one. You see the entire flower, you know, or you could just cut out a small portion of a larger image. If it has enough detail in it, I think, you know, that would be perfect. Okay, so let's do that. So I found what I think are the perfect little images for these faux stamps. And some of these I had to alter a little bit, but all in all, the theme is the same. You get a lot of detail in a really small area, just like these tomatoes I was showing you. I want the edges to be crisp, and then the cardstock that I'm gonna back it with is going to be torn because I think that will make a nice contrast. You could do it the other way around. You could cut both nice and square. I just think that with these magazines, they tear really easily. It's kind of hard to control how much tearing is going on. I would rather delicately cut the area out I want and then tear the paper behind it, but you can totally do whatever you want. Okay, so this is what we have, and this is what we're going to be making our faux stamps out of. I think it's actually easier to make a few at once. let me show you what I mean. So I like gluing them down. This is a pretty thick cardstock, by the way. If you're gonna want to tear on all sides, start away from the corner just so you have enough room to tear. And if you wanted to get really fancy with it, you could layer something in between the paper and the stamp, but I'm just gonna do it like this. If you want, you could distress this paper a little bit before we start gluing down. Obviously, these are going to be stamps of a different size, and off camera, I'm going to be mass making these. I will show you the end result. I just want to show you the process. But I don't want to make a really, really long video where you're just watching me glue things to a page, because I imagine that could probably get a little bit boring. Okay, so a couple of things. You know, if you really want to heavily distress this, probably distress it before you put these down, or else you're gonna get ink all over it. I'm gonna lightly distress them. Okay, so we're just gonna tear. Try and keep a border, because we do want to, that wasn't good what I did right there. We're going to stamp these. We're gonna stamp those lines that kind of make it look like a huge used Post-it stamp. So definitely give yourself a border. It's okay if they're not perfect. The point is to make them look distressed. I'm actually finding this cardstock is so thick it's kind of difficult to work with. I think the lighter cardstock may be easier for tearing purposes. Oops, see? Kind of has a mind of its own. Okay, well, these are going to be very distressed. Make one more little tear. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is ink all around the edges. Okay, I'm happy with these. They're distressed stamps, so it is what it is. Okay. So I am going to ink around the edges, and then I have these stamps with the lines that make it look like the stamp was processed by the post office. And I'm gonna be, you can use other stamps obviously, but I like to make them actually look like a stamp. So I'm gonna be using these. I have, let's see, I have some different inks. I think this round I'm going to keep brown, half gathered twig. Maybe I will outline the stamps with that. And then I think we'll use the darker to actually stamp over them. All right. Just looking for red color. Okay. I just think I mean, obviously you can put these on any color of paper, but I just think the white makes for such pretty contrast. You could sew these. You could outline the image with like Stabilo pencil. You could stickle them. You could do any number of things with these. Okay, do you see how easy that was and how pretty these are? The one thing I will caution you about is the super high, the super glossy paper. It definitely takes the ink a while to dry. So try and be careful not to smudge it. But look at these, look how pretty. So these are the watercolor background little mini postcards that I did. They finally dried. I glued the image on, I sewed around. This is really small, so everything has to be proportional, but I'm gonna start about 1.5 inches from the top. I'm gonna make my line, okay, and then I'm just gonna write postcard. And you can make it cursive, you can kind of doodle it, make really whimsical letters, or just kind of straightforward classical print like I'm doing. And then put your stamp. And maybe I didn't allow enough room. I'm going to use a different stamp for here because obviously these are a little too big. But that's what I had in mind. So simple, but these pictures are so pretty and I love the results. I absolutely love using these seed catalogs, and you can make so many things with them. And if you just start picking out some really pretty images and get into it, you end up with such a variety of really, really pretty ephemera. You don't have to buy anything. You don't need any fancy tools. The one thing I will say, and I think I mentioned this before, but you know, obviously there's so many seed companies out there you can get catalogs from. Please don't order a bunch of catalogs and then not buy anything. If you're gonna request a bunch of catalogs, order from them. Everyone's struggling with the cost of overhead, and printing things isn't cheap. If you're not interested in growing seeds or anything from seed, rather, maybe you have some friends or some family who stash catalogs. One, you know, ask them. I'm sure you could find something. And you know, I'm using seed catalogs because I'm working on my spring journal. Let me show you my Home for Bunny journal. But this same concept could be applied with any kind of magazine. Okay, any kind of magazine, catalog. I love, in terms of magazines for doing projects like this, I love Nat Geo, Condé Nast. You get beautiful images from that. Any like fashion magazine, Vogue, really anything you can get images from. And sometimes, you know, you may look at a big image and you're like, oh, what would I do with this? But if you pick a focal point within the image and cut it down, I think you'd be surprised at what gorgeous things you can make out of it. So for our next piece of ephemera, I actually have something specific I think I need to do. So I'm loving the spring journal, by the way. So I have this booklet that I found. It's The World of Strawberry Shortcake. And I thought, well, this would go perfectly in the spring journal. I don't think I want to cut it up. I think I want to just put it as I'd be too upset to cut it up. And I like all the pages. So I need to make something that will hold this booklet in here. So I'm thinking of making a belly band, and I found a bunch of strawberry images in one of these seed magazines, and I thought, how gorgeous. We can make some kind of strawberry themed belly band or pocket to hold the booklet. So that's what I'm going to be doing now.
So all I'm doing here is taking a couple of measurements to see how large the belly band needs to be, and then I am cutting off the excess with my paper cutter.
So I've cut out these adorable strawberries. I'm just sort of arranging them. I also found this really pretty square image of some strawberries and the red flowers above. And this is going to be perfect to hold this strawberry shortcake booklet. But I still want to come in with some other details, really jazz this up a little bit. I found some buttons. I thought maybe we'll make a tassel and hang something off of these, or maybe we'll put buttons along the top. They're very like whimsical, kind of, you know, bright colored, some of them vintagey looking buttons, and I think that's also a great fit for this. So it's just going to be a matter of getting this all on the belly band the way I want it, but I think this is going to turn out great.
So first I decided that this strawberry shortcake belly band really needed a watercolor scene, sort of similar to what you see on the front of the booklet. So I start just by adding some green tones, adding some leaves and centers for flowers. Then I come in to add a bunch of bright colors for petals. Guys, if you're not painting, I highly recommend it. It is so relaxing. You really don't need any skills, as you can see. I'm definitely evidence of that. But no, and I just think it makes it so much more personal. And of course, just like with anything else, you'll get better with practice.
Okay, so my strawberry shortcake pocket is done. I don't know if it's a pocket or a belly band. I do want to put something in there. Maybe I'll go back through the catalog and find the name of a strawberry and cut it out and put it there. Or maybe I'll put something completely unrelated. I have all these sayings, but nothing was jumping out at me. Maybe the world is more colorful. That seems a little long for that little plate. So I will figure that out. Oh, look, sitting right in front of me. Should I just strawberry? Maybe we'll just use strawberry. Okay, not to be obvious. I mean, kind of works, right? Maybe we'll back it with something to let it pop a little bit. We can ink it up. Got some pink ink right here. And I will probably pull some stickles out. I'm going to do that off camera though, because I don't want to not be able to open up any other pages in my journal until this dries. Okay, that's adorable. I love the buttons, and I ended up using the remaining buttons here as the closure. You saw me doing that on camera. I found a strawberry, this purple vintage button, and this little girl, and I think she looks just like Strawberry Shortcake. So when I saw this pamphlet, I loved it so much, but I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with this. So I think this is the perfect journal for this to go into. I'm probably just gonna put this in like this and let the beads hang off. I don't know if the glue is totally dry yet. I was struggling a little bit with the embroidery floss. I don't know if you saw, I often, like, when I'm struggling trying to bead with this because it's fraying, oftentimes I'll take my glue stick, and that usually, if I pinch it like this, that at least temporarily will help kind of keep the floss from fraying so you can get your beads on. This page is gonna add a lot of bulk in my journal, but I thought it was totally worth getting those beads on there. I think it's so perfect, so I love that.
So something that I really need in my spring journal that I've kind of run out of is altered paper clips. And since the journal is a home for a bunny and there are a lot of rabbit themes in there, I thought, well, how perfect if I made a carrot and a strawberry altered paper clips. That's what they like to eat, right? And these are very simple, by the way. There are so many other really cool, intricate things you could do with these. I kind of feel like bad that I only put these on cardstock and folded them over. It's not really creative, but I don't know, the video was kind of running long, and I thought, well, okay, we'll keep it simple and just put it on cardstock and fold it over.
So I kind of wish I would have allowed a little bit more white space so that I could have maybe done some stamping or added a couple little embellishments on here. I was thinking like a butterfly would look really, really pretty, but I didn't really leave myself any room. So I'm just gonna keep this one very basic, doing some faux stitching, and then we'll put our paper clip on and be done. Yes, these are very, very easy, simple, altered paper clips. If you make them larger, you can stamp on them, you can add fabric, draw on them, add some words. As you see, when you fold them up like I did the carrots, one of them, the image is kind of upside down. So if that bothers you, do what I'm doing here and just cut 2 separate pieces. Some of the images, it doesn't matter, like I wouldn't know if that's up or top or bottom, up or down, so it doesn't really matter, but yeah. Okay, you're just gonna put the longer loop on the outside. Obviously the paper clip is gonna be sticking out on these. There are some ways you can make some folds, if you're not familiar, to make hidden paper clips. You could do that at one point. I just want to make a couple of each thing to kind of maybe get you thinking, and just hopefully give you some ideas as to where to start, because there are so many good ideas you could come up with for ephemera to upcycle these seed catalogs. Alright, I love this. So I'll probably use this on the page next to Strawberry Shortcake here. Maybe I'll pin something to the side. And yeah, I love how that turned out. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope I inspired you to grab some catalogs, upcycle them, and I hope I gave you some great ideas as to how you can use these really, really pretty images in your journals, because if they're just sitting on the shelf collecting dust, that is a crying shame, because sometimes we forget, we buy all these digital images and buy all these pieces of ephemera when actually some of the prettiest images are sitting right on our shelves. So let's look at some of the ephemera we made today using our seed catalogs. I made this strawberry pocket for this Strawberry Shortcake booklet I had. And of course I made a beaded closure, which I love. We made this bookmark, really simple. Just images on the front, back sewn, a little tab up top, and a little bow made out of embroidery floss and some stickles. Okay, you could get crazy with these, the things that you can do with these bookmarks. I made this beautiful journaling card. I just took a digital image I had, and behind her I have a piece of ribbon, a floral scene from one of the seed catalogs, some words, and I went around this in watercolor to really make it pop. Okay, so you can use these the images as a focal point, or just as a background, a beautiful background, especially if it's the same and kind of consistent throughout. Okay, and then I made some postcards, which I'm looking where, oh, here are the other postcards. It's just a sewn image. This image was unaltered. I just cut it out and left it as is because it was like, I think, the prettiest image in the catalog. Made a little stamp from fabric and an image of a butterfly and did some writing. I did the same thing with these. I actually did a watercolor background to tie in the colors of the flowers on 2 pieces of cardstock. Once it dried, I sewed around it and glued the picture of the flowers and did the same thing here. I made a little postcard. I just have to make some really, really small stamps for them. Okay, and speaking of stamps, we also made some faux stamps just with images from the seed catalogs, and I backed them with some heavier cardstock. I cleanly cut out the images and then ripped the cardstock. I think just the contrast of the white and the image, as well as crisp corners versus tearing, I think makes a really nice look. Did some stamping to make it actually look like a stamp, and I love how these came out. I'm definitely going to mass make some actually off camera once I'm done here. I think this would look nice in any journal. And then altered paper clips, very, very simple. Just an image on the front and the back of cardstock with the paper clip in between. Here I took two separate pieces of cardstock, and then this one I folded up and over. So those will be very useful. So guys, I hope I inspired you to grab those catalogs and make some ephemera of your own. If you enjoyed this and want to see more of Ink and Papyrus, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I can't wait to see you the next time.